The mud is cold enough to bite through thin soles. A lantern is smothered, its glow leaking like a secret. Somewhere beyond the tree line, hounds erupt into furious barking, deep, hungry sounds. These hungry sounds carry across the night like a warning bell, a threat that cannot be ignored. The air smells of wet leaves and fear. Overhead, the stars burn indifferent and sharp. They have been walking for hours. They cannot stop. Behind them lies the plantation. In the early decades of the 9th and 10th century, America was a land divided, not just by politics or geography, but by chains. Millions of enslaved people lived under a system that reduced human life to property, enforced by law and violence. Yet within this brutal order, a hidden rebellion was already taking shape, moving in whispers. It had no official leader, no headquarters, no written charter. It operated under cover of night. It became known, in hushed tones, as the Underground Railroad. Neither underground nor a railroad. Instead, it was a sprawling, improvised network of ordinary people bound together. They built pathways where none were meant to exist, transforming bonds into safe houses. Riverboats became lifelines and wagons moving sanctuaries. Each participant risked everything. Still, they chose to help. For those who fled bondage, escape was not a single act, but a relentless journey. The decision often began in secret, a glance exchanged at dusk, a whispered plan shared in a field, a memory of someone who had vanished northward. Escape demanded timing, nerve, and luck. Many left with nothing but the clothes they wore. They traveled by instinct and rumor, guided by stars, rivers, and coded directions. Passed from stranger to stranger, the night became their ally. Darkness concealed movement, but magnified every danger. Twigs snapping beneath a foot could mean discovery. Lantern light in the distance might signal refuge or capture. Slave patrols roamed rural roads, empowered by law to search, question, and seize. Boasters promising reward money for runaways hung in towns like silent threats. The risk extended far beyond the plantation gates. Even free states offered no guarantee of safety. The law itself could be turned into a weapon. Yet within this landscape of pursuit, the Underground Railroad expanded with astonishing reach. Homes with hidden cellars sheltered the weary. Attics concealed families for days at a time. Some safe houses marked their presence subtly. Perhaps a lantern placed in a particular window or a quilt pattern hung in a specific design. Whether myth or method, these symbols represented something vital: communication without speech, trust without proof. Among the conductors, those who guided escapees from one haven to the next, were individuals of remarkable courage. They moved across borders with a calm born of necessity, navigating forests, rivers, and hostile terrain. They memorized routes the way sailors memorize currents. Each successful journey became a quiet victory. And for many, beyond the borders of the United States itself, Canada emerged as a destination. Not because it was easy to reach, but because American laws held no authority there. To cross that boundary was to step into a place where the threat of legal capture no longer hung overhead. But the path north was long and perilous. For every successful escape, many more were intercepted. Stories of capture circulated like cautionary tales, but they did not extinguish hope. They sharpened resolve. As tensions over slavery intensified in the 1850s, the danger grew even greater. The passage of harsher fugitive laws empowered authorities to capture escapees in free states and return them south. Citizens could be compelled to assist in arrests. The line between sanctuary and peril blurred. Yet rather than collapse, the Underground Railroad adapted. Routes shifted. Methods evolved. Communities found themselves on the front lines of moral resistance. The human cost of this struggle cannot be measured in statistics alone. Each journey carried a unique meaning. Each journey carried a universe of emotion. Parents entrusted children to strangers with nothing but faith. Individuals moved through unfamiliar landscapes. There were moments of profound tension that defined the network's legend. Imagine a small farmhouse at midnight. Inside, candles are extinguished. Footsteps approach outside. A knock sounds sharp, deliberate. Every person within holds their breath. Is it an ally or a hunter? Decisions must be made instantly. Without certainty, the Underground Railroad lived in these moments of suspended breath. Not all who participated were abolitionists in the traditional sense. Some were motivated by faith, others by conscience, others by simple humanity. What united them was a willingness to defy the law or a higher moral principle. They understood that assisting escapees was not merely an act of charity, but an act of resistance. Each safe passage undermined the institution of slavery. Over decades, thousands of individuals found their way to freedom. Records were rarely kept. What remains are fragments, letters, testimonies, memories passed down through generations. These fragments reveal a system built not on infrastructure, but on relationships. It was a chain of human decisions. The Underground Railroad also reshaped American consciousness. It exposed the contradiction at the nation's core. A republic founded on liberty, sustaining an institution of bondage. Stories of midnight escapes stirred debate.